I think I was talking with my brother at the Thanksgiving table and like just explaining the Mighty Ducks cartoon. And I was like, so yeah, then their arms expert is actually played by Jennifer Hale as the Duck Mallory McMallard, which is just a great name for, I think, a badass female duck. And my mom was like, why couldn't you like,
Past history.
so you didn't, you failed Spanish because you didn't like, and I was like, hey, look, okay,
All right.
I also wish this was selective and I could point this at things that mattered.
Like yes, I absolutely wish that I could aim monotropism at shit that mattered to me. Episode 484 of the TV Dudes, recorded April 26th, 2024. Dead Boy Detectives. This week, we're going to keep talking about Alex Garland's Civil War, the mostest, importantest movie that either Nick or I saw this entire year.
You could shut your mouth.
So, what then? We're just going to watch Fallout again?
Oh, don't tempt me with a good time.
Oh, no. We got to find something new here to... Oh, how about this? Neil Gaiman and Netflix are teaming up to make a new and spooky show.
Fuck yeah, Sandman Season 2, baby.
Says here it's called Dead Boy Detectives.
Okay, that can't be the name of it.
I think it's about some living kids that have no interest in crime solving.
Wait a minute. No, Dead Boy, that's not the name of anything. It's a stupid name.
Yeah, well, before we get to all that, I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. This week on our social medias, we've been asking more and more of the tough questions, and, y'all keep answering. So let's tune in with the TV Dudes.
TV Dudes, tune in. What did we ask this week, Les?
I believe we asked what was the best cop show.
Ah, yes. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's you love a cop show. It's like that line in Clerks: you hate people, but you love gatherings. You hate cops, but you love cop shows.
Out of all the serialized like story, out of the med procedural, lawyer procedural, and cop procedural, I'm ashamed to say that cop procedurals are basically the ones that do it for me the best.
I feel like they've got it. I feel like lawyer procedurals are probably more my bag, but I definitely, I hear what you're picking up, what you're putting down. Like I said, may not like cops, but cop shows tend to work.
Indeed.
Well, you guys all weighed in.
Yes.
Let's see. David Lamplaw gave us, regardless of my changing opinion of cops and policing, number 14, Red Riding. Number 13, Unbelievable. Line of Duty, Happy Valley, Mayor of Easttown, The Bill, The Fall, Scott and Bailey, Homicide, Life on the Street, Prime Suspect, The Sweeney, 19-2, The Shield, and then number 1 is The Wire.
Well, did he just like fucking name all the police shows?
I've not even heard of some of these.
I don't even know what some of those are.
19-2 is badass. Everybody should go check out 19-2.
I've watched a lot of fucking cop shows, and I don't know what some of those are.
Rob L. McCarthy said, Law and Order SVU, do you understand how sick that show gets away with being?
I mean... Honestly, when I watch Law and Order, I watch SVU.
Yeah, well, he's not wrong. I was like, man, seriously, they get away with shit American Horror Story would blush at.
Mariska Hargitay is fucking knee deep in a bunch of shit every week.
As long as you don't say fuck, you can get away with anything.
You're good. You're fine.
Cliff Coates weighed in with what a lot of people agreed. The Wire.
Yeah, The Wire's always one that gets. I believe
that was
around.
Also Jeff Jones. There is a cop show which has great throughout, has the distinction of having the single best season of TV ever to air. That is The Wire, and season 4 is his favorite. Oscar Osorio said Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and a lot of folks agreed with that. I also agree with it. Danny Doggett said Brooklyn Nine-Nine is the best cop show of all time. Dennis McElwain said The Shield. He thinks The Wire got goofy a little bit. John Paul Vitale
in the later
named one that I had not thought of in a long time, Sledgehammer.
The fuck?
It's kind of a Naked Gun-ish kind of... he plays a Dirty Harry style extreme cop taken to a satire level. I bet it doesn't hold up now because it probably just doesn't look like satire.
Sure.
I haven't seen it in years. He mentions Beverly Hills Bunts, which again, never heard of that show. And of course, he mentions, who could forget, Big Dogs. Brett Cohen's probably still eating that sandwich somewhere. Danny Doggett also mentioned The Good Guys, which I loved. One season goofy ass show.
Oh, that's with Colin Hanks or something, right?
Yes, and Bradley Whitford.
Yes.
And a mustache. It's friggin' fun.
Actually, this is gonna make me want to go watch some. Just to its point, make me want to go watch some cop shows and more.
Right? And then Cliff Coates named Barney Miller and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which man, the Barney Miller theme, that intro is such a vibe. It is just like funky 70s, like just cool. And
Honestly,
now I want a mix of the two. I want a Brooklyn Nine-Nine intro done to like the 70s vibe of Barney Miller, and I want the Barney Miller intro frozen. Dun 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 dun.
The a lot of things could deal with a Brooklyn Nine intro.
Right.
The honestly, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, even more so than The Rookie, is like aspirational policing to me. As far as well, not even policing, because most of it sucks because they really hone in on that we're following detectives. We are not following the beat cops.
No, beat cops are generally like Debbie.
Yeah, like even in that last season, John C. McGinley is policeman's using. He's protecting.
It's the union that's the worst.
And they're protecting. Like he's like, oh, I'm protecting cops. Like, we're cops, but are you? Like, you're not like our cops. Like the last season goes out of their way to be
right. It's like Bill Murray. Like, no, you're a cop. You're not my cop.
You're not the cops. Yeah, that's definitely like the consensus. I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I do see a lot on here. The Shield is one I haven't thought about recently.
It's hard to think. I've never really watched The Shield, but I know they're cops, but they're so bad.
Well, I mean, that's the idea.
It's like thinking of Breaking Bad as that high school teacher show.
Well, that's the idea of The Shield. Like, The Shield is supposed to be like, I mean, from Jump Street, like he shoots an undercover cop. Like the first episode, like Vic Mackey is a bad guy. Eventually they'll make him a more interesting 3-dimensional character.
Den of Thieves, the show.
But by the end of it, like he's like he fully gets away with it at the end. Like that's how that show ends. You realize, like, oh, he doesn't face any consequences for his actions, but at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Like his friends do. Like,
I've heard nothing but good, but at this point, I don't know that I can watch The Shield. Man.
Like personally, his personal life is destroyed, but professionally, he faces it's fine, no repercussions.
So he's probably just going to start over. Seems like a second family kind of guy.
I mean, he does start over in a new, whatever that. He goes to the FBI or whatever the fuck. Like, he's in a new desk job or whatever, but he takes a gun and goes off in the last fucking shot to go.
Of course he does.
Like, oh man. Lord. There's a lot of show in between that and the other thing, but like, fuck, I don't know if I could watch the whole Shield. Luckily, I watched the Shield when I did, because now I don't think I could have gotten through it today.
Well, I didn't watch the Shield, but did watch a bunch of other stuff this past week. How about you? You want to talk about TV Diaries?
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Yeah, let's get it on. I mean, we did watch Ungentlemanly Warfare for the Patreon, and that made us want to watch some stuff when we got home. So we actually watched The Great Escape, which I hadn't seen in a long time. And I was like, shit, I've seen The Great Escape, but I remembered it different. No, that's not true.
More people getting away.
That's not true. I remembered it the same up until the end.
Right.
Like, I remember, like, oh shit, I remember way more people getting, and honestly, a lot of people do get away because we only watch 10 or so.
Right. But most of our guys don't get away.
But like, almost like they mentioned like 100 dudes like fucking got out of there.
50 motherfuckers did not.
Wow. Fucking
did
dark. Not. Like, but yeah,
He also showed me a little bit of Second Best Hospital in the Galaxy.
Yeah, the new animated joint on Prime Video, I wanted to check it out. I think one of the producers is Natasha Lyonne. She also plays one of the doctors
one of the voices,
on it.
Right?
One of the voices, yeah. And I really like Natasha Lyonne. Honestly, ever since Russian Doll and what is the name? Fucking
Poker Face.
Poker Face.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. Poker Face. I was like, shit. She's heavily involved in both those. She was heavily involved in both those productions
she
as well.
She definitely like produced the shit out of Russian Doll, and I'm pretty sure she co-produced Poker Face, like written for her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think she even directed a couple of episodes.
I think probably right.
Like, but so I was like, oh man, I think it really put her on my radar again, in a way that she hasn't been for like. I mean, she's been working steadily for. Fucking.
She did Orange is the New Black that entire time. She did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even before that, decades. I mean, fucking.
Well, she was in American Pie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I'm a cheerleader.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah. Like, I mean, you want to talk about fucking
Slums
early
of Beverly Hills.
You want to talk about early representation? Goddamn.
Right. Right.
The-
If folks haven't seen But I'm a Cheerleader, it's a gem and people should go watch it.
But I'm a cheerleader is fucking great, and I feel like no one talks about it anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's a fun like I mean it is fun, but it's also about a gay conversion camp.
Right. It is the most fun you'll
It's the
have
most
in a
fun
movie
you'll have in a
about-
movie about a gay conversion camp.
Right.
It's more fun than They Them, the one we
Right.
watched.
Oh Lord, you're right.
Remember They Them?
I was just thinking, like, I say that, but what would I be comparing this movie to? But no, I have seen another movie about a gay conversion camp, and this is more. Yes. Wow, what a weird thing to rank.
At least that I don't think But I'm a Cheerleader has a sex crime in it. I don't think. I think they're all underage, so I
It's
think that
been
all
a minute.
cools.
But yeah, They Them
Think-
does egregiously.
They're all underage, so that's all cool. Like
Let's see. Also watched some X-Men 97, which continues to be.
so wow, this episode I'm back and forth. That the funeral at the beginning, I felt nothing.
No, me
I
either.
was like-
kind of zoned out.
Another X-Men funeral. Like you realize that, like, look, not even in just this story, but in general, X-Men have died too often.
Right, it's a running joke.
I cannot feel anything for it anymore. And Kurt being the priest
Mhm.
at it, I'm like, wait a minute. I know he's religious.
No,
Is
he's a priest.
He's a priest?
Yeah, he's been a priest in the
He's
comics
been a
for
priest?
while.
Okay. But also, it means he has to deliver some broken-ass
Eulogy sounded shit. Yeah.
dialogue. And I'm like, oh, you blue furry motherfuckers. You and Hank, you can't... honestly, when he quoted Mr. Rogers this episode, I was like, well, thank God. Like, it's a simple quote. Look for the helpers. They're always helping. Like, well, yeah, Mr. Rogers isn't going to fucking, like, get all soliloquy with it. So I also liked that Trish, the reporter, like, seemed to have a thing going on with Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, up until, like, she mentions... I like that she, like, it's a common, like, oh, no, I'm an ally thing. But she mentions well, I mean, broken windows is not, and Beast is like, riots are the language of the
voiceless,
oppressed
yeah.
and unheard. And they're like, well, and it was like, well, that's not the way to get people to, not be afraid of you. And I love that even, man, when Beast is talking that, you know what, maybe Charles Xavier was short-sighted and wrong. Maybe we shouldn't have begged for your fucking tolerance.
Oh man. Yeah.
And I was like, guys, you're losing ground here.
Right.
Like,
Man, I saw a bunch of people post who had not read the comics of like, so is Cyclops going to end up some kind of radical terrorist mutant leader by the end of this? And a bunch of people were like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes, they are doing Utopia. Yes.
Well, honestly, you can see why. Like, they're like a lot of the X-Men are kind of like Rogue is especially like.
People are going to be so mad if he ends the season in the X-Cross face mask thing, but I love that mask. It's so stupid.
It's real dumb.
It's so dumb, and I love it. People will be so mad, and I'm so here for it.
So Rogue goes on her own, like, fucking mission.
Dude,
Like,
she just goes to hunt down a dude, and then you want to talk about weird, too quick turns and my problem with some of the minor pacing of this show?
Yeah.
Her asking him, hey, you got to help us, and him saying, I don't
Trask,
really know anything. Yeah, Trask. And then
All right.
Rogue just kills a dude.
Well, I guess she wanted to make sure he had nothing to offer them and then throw her. I'm like, well, so you had Rogue grab him so that
And then
she
we
could let him
stop,
go.
and we have a friendly sounding line. And then we're right back to kill you.
Because honestly, you're like the moment of the show of this episode that I really liked was when Kurt came up and comforted her, and then all the X-Men showed up, and I actually teared up. I was like, when Jean comes out of her, and all the X-Men were like, and no dialogue again. All the best moments have no dialogue because
because she just can't do the funeral. Yeah,
and she can't do the funeral. They all grieve in their own way, and they're all there for her.
I love
they don't
Wolverine's immediate like, nah, man, grief is a weird thing. Yeah,
grief is a one-man war.
Yeah,
like, and so when she kills Trask, I was like, y'all had plenty of time. Some of you are teleporters and telekinetics. All of you let Trask die yourselves.
Well,
Like you
and I
like
can't remember who first responds, but somebody says like, "What did you just do?" What we were all thinking.
Wolverine, of
Wolverine's
course.
like,
Well, obviously, I'm like Wolverine's a murderer. Like,
Right.
maybe not in this cartoon, but it's been pretty established. Like, in the X-Men, I'm like, I'm always like, oh, do these X-Men not kill people?
but like none
Like,
of them even yell "Rogue no."
they
I
all
don't
just
think.
go. Well,
I don't
Morph goes. Is this who we are now? Morph, you're gonna turn into Quicksilver in a minute to fight the Sentinel person. You could have done that and then saved Trask if
So
you wanted to.
Morph makes me feel like I've never read comics before because I did not remember that Morph Kit gets the mutant powers of the people he turns into.
He didn't in the cartoon. He didn't until I think Sinister
fucked with him. Okay. Because man, when he takes off running as Quicksilver, I was like, you're so overpowered they can't have you in the comics anymore.
No,
like you can't turn into if
well,
you turn into Xavier, you could run Cerebro.
It seems to me
if you turn into Jean, you could host the Phoenix.
Well, the thing is that he doesn't turn into anyone that has an intrinsic or energy based power.
Mm-hmm.
He turns into people that have physical powers. He turns into Blob. He turns into Quicksilver that can run fast. He turns into the four-armed person.
But you're right.
But he turns into people that have physical manifestations that he can copy. He can change his physiology.
Yeah, because if he threw an energy bolt, it would be him technically.
So because he doesn't change into Storm. He doesn't change into Magneto. He doesn't change into people that are like Omega level mutants.
Right. No, that's true.
But he changed instead of Lady Deathstrike.
Right.
I don't think he has a healing factor, is what I think. But I think he just has the.
But he can make the claws.
He can make the claws. He has the skills. He has the strength. He has the basic physical abilities of people.
All right, that actually helps me.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to like look it up, but that's how
I'll take that no prize. That's good.
That's how I read it.
That's good.
But either way, all the I have to accept that all the X-Men there. I'm like, y'all let him die. Like, I mean, you can be mad at Rogue or whatever and for letting him go, but y'all let that happen. And it's too fast of a turn for Rogue. Like, she's immediately like cold, and then I love that the Sentinel has to take her out immediately because we've spent this entire episode with showing how powerful Rogue is. Right. So
and then, the new Sentinel Prime that rises up.
Mm-hmm.
Which that was really fun. That was great. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they always what are more dangerous Sentinels, and it's like it's never like the bigger ones never are like no, it's the
the creepier T-1000 Sentinels.
Yeah. Yes. I'm surprised Storm didn't show up. Like Storm is now fully like because she knew about Genosha or whatever, and they're just helping. Like most of this episode, they're just helping out in Genosha.
Yeah.
And she can fly now, so like I just thought like, oh, she'll be here any minute now.
Nope.
Any minute. Also, they treated again, I haven't watched the cartoon in a while, but they treated Emma Frost's diamond form like they'd never seen it before.
Yeah, no, that seemed like a new mutation brought on by stress. She's always been good under pressure.
I mean,
also, how did Jean detect her as a psychic while in that diamond form?
She's not supposed to. I honestly, I was like,
I was a little mad at that.
I was like, hey, in the diamond form, she's not supposed to. But what? Okay, maybe you're doing a new continuity. But then again, I thought you already had. She had a diamond form.
She's always had that. I thought anyway.
It is the second mutation in the comics or whatever. But
yeah, but like.
Again, there's a couple things in the show that I feel like they're pretending we've never done, but like, at least Cyclops says like, "Oh, hey, Cable." Like they at least acknowledge that they've met Cable before.
So the one thing of the X-Men bullshit weirdness with Cable, I realized that the various times we've seen him, so the woman that looked him in the eyes and saw him, that's Madeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who just saw the baby.
Yeah.
Back in the original show, I don't think Madeline met adult Cable.
Well, it depends on who Madeline is.
Right. And so I don't know which memories and where. So like, I had a moment of like, oh man, there is an off chance that you go through meeting a woman who looks just like your mom like a couple of times.
Well, at that point, before she's pregnant, it's established there's no way to tell.
Right.
Even though I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people with a bunch of magical abilities.
Right.
But no, it's more like, well, the story-wise, it would be less interesting if we knew who was the clone. So nope, now we can't. It's like when Skrulls invaded of like, nope, now no one can detect Skrulls. What about Wolverine's smell? Nope, can't do it. Well, okay, there's a bunch of other ways to nope, all that doesn't work anymore.
Like, man, I'd go Thing style. We're all cutting our finger.
Well,
right now.
I mean, Mr. Fantastic built a look. Okay, we want the premise to work. Just shut up. I thought that having like pretending Madeline and Magneto are dead for a minute, I was like, okay, I guess they have to like assume they're dead, even though us as an audience are like, yeah, okay, no way.
There's no bodies for either one of them. They were like atomized.
No. And showing Magneto at the end there with Bastion, who's basically he's playing Purple Eater,
Purple People Eater.
People Eater, and I'm like, why not just have him play like Stuck in the Middle with You? Like, it's so weird.
It's super weird. A man who can only be known as Sinister.
Honestly, like who's Sinister working for? Like even weirder motherfucker. Great.
Fucking Bastion.
I did like him saying that man, this is something no villains would ever, no X-Men villains would ever do this. Oh, and remind me about the time you've never beaten them. Yeah, so I'm gonna take what you do and take that as a roadmap of what not to do.
Like, you do understand your purpose as history for me, right? Yeah. It's like learning crime from people you know in jail. Like, no offense, but you guys all got caught.
I do like that Sinister kind of knows what's up with the X-Men. He like respects them in a certain way of like, hey, so you know how those Sentinels like learn and adapt? The X-Men do that fucking too. You should not have given them the chance to see the enemy and learn from it.
Well, what will it matter? Man, trust
me on this. Yeah. Like, this will come back and bite you in the ass.
See, we also kept up with Elspeth, which continues to be a cute, fun procedural.
Yep.
With a little bit of an arc. I was talking to Randy this past week, and I have to agree, they really missed an opportunity by having her not having her remain Elspeth, the lawyer that lawyers call the defense attorney for the weirdest cases.
Yeah.
And instead making it into a cute poker face light.
They were definitely afraid of keeping that premise going, even though that's just a law procedural. Like, that's just different law firms having a different problem every week. And then you can have a different lawyer or a different law firm that has a problem, rather than a cop. But they wanted her to be a detective. So
I don't.
She doesn't really do anything with the law anymore.
No,
and you realize that?
I have a huge crush on Carrie Preston. I'm just going to keep watching it, but it does feel like a missed opportunity.
She's now officially a detective.
Yes,
and doesn't do crazy stuff with the law or figuring.
She's not even barred in New York. She can't.
She can't do it's super weird.
Yeah. Show I've kept up on that I think is just getting better and better is Ghosts over on Paramount. Also, I think this past week was the Poltergeist. Great. And they introduce a new, so if they go to heaven, they get sucked off. If they go down on you, they went to hell.
You went to hell, and now is the jerk.
Yes, they can be jerked off onto someone else. Because a poltergeist, it turns out, is a ghost that is not haunting a building but haunting a person.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that that's the definition, but whatever.
Honestly, I think Poltergeist was the other way around in the Poltergeist movie.
But yeah. Either way, they have a guest show up to the hotel, and he's got this old-timey baseball player attached to him. And then the baseball player jerks himself off at that guy and onto Jay.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And the joke just never gets old, in my opinion. And the whole show is just going to gangbusters now. They have Flower was lost in a well for a while, and they have to go find her. Getting ghosts out of a well is a real problem.
Oh yeah, because you'd have to
they can't climb on things really. They don't fully understand how the floor works.
Yeah, you'd have because you can't throw it on a rope.
So it turns out, and this is also how they managed to have something like some stuff in some of the ghost past that the other ghosts don't all already know. It turns out, two of the ghosts spent almost a year walking around the grounds because they got caught in the same well a few years ago, like 100 years ago.
Okay.
And we both fell in that well. They can walk through the ground, but you can't see where you're going.
Okay.
So they managed to walk directly.
The ground is now the wall now?
Yes, because now the sides of the well are wall. You could walk out of the well, but you can't climb up.
Oh my god!
But
I don't.
They walk straight over, and they managed to find the basement or the cellar eventually, and get out.
Okay.
And it eventually comes to light that tell him what else happened. Like, I don't want to. That's all that happened. He's like, no, tell him about the other ghost.
What?
And it turns out that there used to be a Puritan girl who was also in the well with them and lost her grip on Isaac's hand as they were walking to, and she is still just wandering in the ground somewhere.
Oh, wow.
So that's just out there.
Dude, there's not
like, I love Jay's reaction of like, I mean, I don't love that.
Honestly, wait. She's had like a fucking forever to like just walk in random directions. You'd hit it eventually,
right? You would think. So I assume
unless you just give up.
I mean, it's Ghost, so it's going to be like 8 episodes from now. But at some point in this show, man, that girl's just going to walk through the fucking wall.
It's like, why didn't you show up earlier? Because the writers didn't have me exist yet.
We didn't know about me yet. Yeah.
Ask the sleeping ghost in the fucking attic.
Right. Well, she's how they figure out that it wasn't flour that got sucked off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Show when the show's got the full cast firing on all cylinders, it is adorable. Also watching AHS Delicate, just because it is the boringest AHS season so far. I think because it's based on a book that did not need to be translated into this house style. Fanny and I went and saw Late Night with the Devil in the theater. It's on Shudder now. I would recommend everybody go check that out. If you at all have an inkling towards kind of meta found footage horror, it is a theoretical, like, real broadcast that went out on like an 80s Jerry Springer type late night show, like a Carson wannabe, the number 3 or 4 in the market.
Okay.
And it goes just horrifically wrong. Like they have basically like a Reagan from The Exorcist and her handler on and some other guests. And shit just goes wrong.
Okay.
But then it's real fun. The style is so dead on. Like, they nail this weird 70s show vibe. And David Dasmalkian is the host. Like, basically the fucking thing rests on his shoulders. And he just crushes it. He was also in The Rookie recently, which we watched.
Oh, yeah.
He's the new little baddie on The Rookie. We watched Hole in the Ground. I cannot believe that that's the same director as Evil Dead Rise. I hated Hole in the Ground. I was really mad at that movie.
I mean,
I don't hate it.
We were digging it for like up until like the third act, and we realized that there's not really anything to do in this third act at all.
No,
but have her crawl around in the goddamn titular hole.
Yeah, she just crawled. I don't know if the budget ran out or what. I was real frustrated there. Speaking of not frustrated with the movie, though, Fanny and I watched Princess Bride. Always a win. Always movie. Fucking flawless. Just great. Watch it.
Good luck. Good luck storming the castle.
Also kept up on 30 Rock. Obviously, we watched Ministry of Infinite Warfare, like we mentioned. I finished out Reacher, which man, if you watched any of Reacher, finish it out. It's really fun.
I'll finish it out. At some point.
You're gonna be one of these weeks. You're gonna be caught with one of these strike bullshit gaps, like we are with The Rookie right now.
Yeah,
tear through some Reacher. It ends in some really fun action set pieces.
Oh man, speaking of strike bullshit, I don't think we've watched the latest Chucky.
No,
but we didn't talk about the previous Chucky because of the dumb release schedule. We didn't actually talk about the last Chucky last week.
Man, nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. So Peacock's a couple of weeks ago they put it out on Peacock the day after it aired on Sci-Fi, which is great, awesome, cool. The next week we go the next day. Not there. I go online, I look it up. It says, literally, the official response on Twitter from Peacock is it'll be out 1 week after Sci-Fi. So, like, all right, I'm mad, but we'll wait a week. The next day, it's on Peacock. Like, no one knows. Like, an intern sneaking around posting shit. I don't know.
Honestly, the last episode, I was like, oh, this is a pretty good, okay episode of Chucky. It was not blowing me away up until the end. Where he get like Chucky finally
Santa Claus.
Well, he gets the nuclear codes because it's Chucky in the White House. He's eventually going to get him.
He finished the previous episode with the pen in his hand and the nuclear codes.
Yeah. And so he like.
But the show has promised and not quite.
He lights up. Yeah, they always promise like not a sea change of like, hey, we're not going to actually pull the trigger on this.
But wouldn't it be crazy?
But wouldn't it, and so they pull up 3 bombs, like 3 missiles, like China, Russia, and. What was it?
Pyongyang. He's gonna hit North Korea.
Oh, China. Yeah.
He's gonna hit North Korea, Russia, and the North Pole because he doesn't want any children that survived the nuclear war.
Parallel or whatever. Like it's like I want them. No one to believe in Santa.
Yeah, any kid that survives it's gonna know that Santa died.
which is great Chucky logic.
Oh
And
man.
so they canceled 2 of those missile launches.
Well, we
and-
should talk that the way that he's gotten it this far is the Devon Sawa as the president's double.
Yep.
This
They bring back Devon Sawa
brought
again.
back again as the dopey version of the president he was just playing.
Dude, his dopey thing of like,
so
oh
good.
man, like you've been like a serious adult for a minute, but the dopey version of you, I was getting like, oh shit, idle hands energy. Like
yes, you've still got it, buddy.
I'm seeing the younger you all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like,
And so they managed to stop 2 of them. And you were yelling at the TV like, pull that doll away from that button. Pull
Like,
that doll away from that button.
Get the doll. Hey, Chucky is not like, you can't trust that.
He's
And
dead like an X-Men's dead.
and so at the last second he's like, fuck Santa, and puts the
Wham!
button, and I was like, amazing.
Oh, flawless. I mean, it also gave us the Chucky opening credits this episode with the nuclear.
Oh,
Missile
War
Command.
Games
Yeah.
looking shit. Like, oh man, I cannot.
I'm so stoked for this coming week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he just nuked the North Pole like the U.S. just nuked the North Pole. Oh man, fantastic. Also watched Say Anything, a Cameron Crowe movie, which is always a fun date night movie.
Yeah.
Finished out Fargo season 4, which it's not my favorite season of Fargo, but it ties into the other seasons nicely,
Mhm.
and it really ends really cool. I dug it. I still think season 5 is their best. New Hulu show called High Hopes. I watched 3 episodes of before I couldn't stand it anymore. It's a reality show set in a Hollywood marijuana dispensary.
Okay.
And it is very obvious by episode 3 that they are cherry picking whatever they can to make it look the most dysfunctional train wreck as possible.
Mhm.
Because like we went 2 episodes and they go to launch this new product on 420 or whatever, and they walk into a room and there's like 3 or 4 people you've not seen in the show at all, and they are like senior VP of marketing at this company and head of HR, and like
Okay.
there's an
so
immediate
a lot of time has gone by.
so no one I've seen on screen and no decision I've seen on screen is responsible for anything serious that would affect anyone's job.
Okay.
Like clear, like it becomes very obvious that like clearly in the back room you guys have like a functional company that are not these fuckwits,
yeah.
and you're just picking like
Right. Well, I'm surprised you gave it a shot. Like, you're not really.
No,
if it's not Korean meatheads, I don't think you like.
No,
are
I
much
should have
of a-
known. But the first episode was cute. Like they're a family owned cannabis dispensary that's trying to go more corporate. Like they want to be bigger.
Okay.
And at the start of it, they hire this dude, Freddie, who is like what they base stoner comedies on.
Sure.
Like Freddie is like respect. Like, dude, I smoke weed and you are weed. And like, but
isn't that the name of the fucking gentleman character that fucks it all up, Freddy?
yes, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. Yeah, no, it. And then you find out that the 2 brothers who are very mad at this dude for they want to be more corporate, and this dude is not gonna. It's not gonna work. They saw him on the news. He was like the first guy in line in the Detroit when Michigan got weed or something like that, and they saw him on the news being like the stoneriest stoner ever since Pauly Shore, and hired him for that look. And then immediately you're like, dude, you can't be high at work.
Okay.
Like, it's so like it's all good for the show. Let's see.
I mean, he's first in line and like he's gonna be fucking high. Like,
Right.
you're
Like no, he full on stops. Is like I've never done that. like you could tell that it's like wait what? Like no.
Yeah.
Of course, then they immediately have him sit down and product test with like a grading sheet, and he spends 4 hours at work on the clock getting wrecked.
Well, yeah, because he's fucking. Well, I misunderstand what the conflict here is.
Whatever needs to be wrong in the moment for the show. God, I hate reality shows. Physical 100 or nothing. Honestly, you get all the Physical 100 guys really stoned and just let them fight. I would watch that.
I mean, if they were stoned, though, I don't think they would fight.
No,
like,
man. Show me your muscle again. Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, honestly, you want them a little amped up so that they want to prove themselves to each other.
Those motherfuckers could destroy an all-you-can-eat buffet, though.
Oh yeah, do not give them the munchies. Like they'll
My
fucking
God,
they'll ruin an economy of a China buffet.
Well, now it feels about a good time to mention that if you haven't joined us over at patreon.com/tvdudes, you can throw down $1 an episode and get bonus content every single week.
$1 an episode a week.
$1 an
What
episode.
what do they get for such a small investment?
You're only charged for the bonus subs, so for $4 a month, you're going to get completely double the pod. This week, we will be joined by special guest and TV dude Randy Lander to discuss the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which is in theaters now.
Yep.
But that's all over on patreon.com/TV dudes. For our main course this week, let's solve the mystery of Netflix's new series, Dead Boy Detectives.
Allow me to welcome you to the Dead Boy Detective Agency. We help ghosts resolve their mysteries. Ghosts who cannot let go.
Dead Boy Detectives?
It's Aces, right?
It's just a stupid name.
I would like to hire you. I've heard you're the best.
We help ghosts whose cases would go unsolved.
The cases no one else can.
The savior of the broken, the beaten and the damned.
No. Oh, come on, having a psychic is paying off. She is absolutely not joining the agency.
You know I can totally hear you guys.
We're pretty bang on detectives when we're not hiding from death. He spent a bunch of decades in hell.
It's a technicality.
Sorry, I've got to take you to hell.
These two boys
I'm cheating death.
You are my best mate. I wouldn't want to be dead with anyone else.
This sweet moment got really heavy.
We'll carry on, we'll carry on. And though you're sad, God, believe me, your memory will carry on.
Our deaths didn't matter. And no one ever solved them. I'm not going back to hell.
I just want to help. It does matter.
Okay, so this is a adaptation of another DC comic. Was this from the Vertigo line as well?
It is, I believe.
Okay, because it's based in the same universe as The Sandman, which
Yes, Vertigo imprint. It is Matt Wagner and Neil Gaiman and Malcolm Jones III. They appeared in a Sandman issue and then spun off, basically.
it's because you see Death in the opening. It's played by the same actress as in the Sandman adaptation, which I thought was a pretty cool nod immediately. And you'll see Despair later. So I was like, okay, cool. This is in the same universe.
That's cool. So in the third season of Doom Patrol, played by different actors, but these same characters show up, the
Oh.
Dead Boys.
Cool.
I thought it was funny that in this show, one of them's wearing a Doom Patrol comic T-shirt.
Sure.
So
The show feels itself like a little bit Doom Patrol.
it does. It's got where it's at its best for me. It has a crazy ass Doom Patrol vibe where there's a million rules and all of it's kind of half understood.
Yeah. Well,
So-
they play two ghosts that basically solve ghost mysteries
Yes,
for
they're
ghosts.
a supernatural detective duo, Charles Rowland and Edwin Payne. Rather than entering the afterlife, they both remained here. Now they hide out from death, or hide out from hell, or hide out from heaven, or whoever takes ghosts to the afterlife.
Mhm.
And they solve cases, or they try to only take cases that the living are uninterested in and that only a ghost could help solve.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool.
Mhm.
We find out that Edwin has spent like 70 years in hell, and so has not just been wandering the earth dead. Like he was sacrificed
Yeah.
in a stupid ritual.
He breaks his way out, so
Broke out of hell.
He has an invested reason not to move on to the afterlife,
Right,
and
but also a
Charles-
vested reason to keep helping people. He's trying to
He's trying to buy
he's,
his-
prep an appeal, basically.
Yeah, which honestly is kind of that kind of negates the intention of
Right,
everything you're
right.
doing.
It's some good place logic there.
Constantine or the Constantine movie of like, no, all the good you did was in hopes of being not damned to hell.
Right, so that doesn't
So it
count.
doesn't count. Like
Yeah.
you're doing it for a
You do a good deed that redamns you, then that'll count. Yeah.
But then it'll damn me again. Yeah.
you see where we're getting this. So it's a good contract. We know what we're doing.
So I like that Charles has Charles could obviously move on. They don't really know where he would go. But
The blue light showed up for him.
Yeah.
So
but
at least the first time, man, he could have gone to heaven.
But they are,
Tranquility.
if anything this show does right, they show the relationship between these two is ride or die.
Yeah.
I'm not like, hey, I'm not going anywhere without you. We're sticking together. Like they sell the fear of they don't want to get caught by death, not because they don't want to move on to the afterlife specifically.
They don't want to split up.
They don't want to be split up because they would go to different.
They found
spots.
like one friend, and they're
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that really sells. And what sells a lot, which it obviously shouldn't have, is their sexual chemistry.
Oh my god, I can't believe they don't hook up. One of them has a crush on the other, and it's unrequited. But we don't even find that out until like 3 or 4 episodes in. Except that you know it from the start at the opening frame of them together. They
Edwin
are thirsty for each. This whole show is so damn thirsty.
This whole show is so fucking.
We haven't even
horny.
gotten to the King of Cats. God damn.
Oh my god, Edwin is so bitchy jealous when Crystal shows
in the first
up.
episode when they acquire
get
Crystal, this living psychic,
who is like, okay, so she's added to the investigation team because she's a psychic. She brings something new to the table, and Charles is kind of like, oh hey, what's going on? Like having a, and I got like I was telling you like, man, I'm getting some real Road to El Dorado energy with Miguel and Chell, and I'm like, so I'm like, okay, so it's not stated, but y'all like
fucking right.
Y'all are fucking or have fucked and are now, and Charles is bi and you're gay, and so you're like you immediately have a threat of like, oh nope, I immediately hate this bitch. Like I don't even understand why we need her. Like, well, she's a psychic. Like, well, we've done fine without her. Whatever, Charles.
Oh my god, yeah. I'm like, man, we can't actually rent a place to stay because we're dead. Like,
yeah.
It would help to have her. Fine.
Like, there's just a lot of practical stuff that you need like a living person to do, and they show that
but it works great to like drag her along because we get this human character that Edwin keeps just rattling off ghost rules to every time they run into something. But since he doesn't like her really, he doesn't fully explain any of it.
So,
and it just makes a running joke, basically.
What's real fun about this show is the rapid fire lore that happens. Like, they just start to explain rules and
like 70 years of DC Comics magic just fucking
in that first episode, they just like fucking everything is running of like, oh, also like
cats can talk to humans, or cats can talk, they just don't talk to humans.
Yeah.
What?
They never explain that.
Don't use magic on a cat. What?
Why though? Oh, because then the Cat King will actually. What's a Cat King?
I'm so sorry. I ask questions.
And so, I really like that they rapid fire like their monsters, their spells, their systems of ghosts and how it works. The
second episode is so insane with the dandelion sprites and Nico and all of that, and we add Nico to the cast, and she's adorable. And then we get to the third episode, and this show starts out, I realized there was going to be a case of the week and an overarching plot.
Well, honestly, there should be a case of the week.
Yes,
like,
each
that's
episode has a case of the blah. We end each episode almost with case closed. I love that. It makes my little Hardy Boys 3 investigators' heart go pitter-patter. I love it. Also, opening like a Bond movie at the end of a case to start a case, brilliant. More shows should do it. In the third episode, though, they do this, what should be kind of a cool Amityville, let's stop this ghost loop thing. Only they spend, no lie, half the episode trying to figure out what is happening. With you just yelling at the screen.
Why are they
that it's a ghost loop?
Why are they repeating the events? I'm like,
oh my god, he's gonna kill her again. Have
you watched a fucking ghost movie?
And I do like that they make a lot of hay out of the fact that no, these are ghosts like we're ghosts. They're basically people that are making new memories.
Yeah.
And so they remember and feel every one of these loops.
Right.
And that is different and cool, but it is weird how long it takes them to figure out the mystery. And I realize that like, oh man, for a show that's going rapid fire, lightning fast, I don't care, keep up if you can on the lore and everything else. It then treats the mystery of the week, the case of the week,
the actual
like it
story.
is Encyclopedia Brown. Like you
Plot,
are
I
in
should say.
first grade, and this is not even a Newbery Award winner.
Yeah, the
And
audience is way too far
way
ahead
ahead
of the detectives.
And I thought, well, maybe I've just watched a bunch of Poker Face and crime stuff and read a bunch of books. You know,
But then
and
the next
the
episode
next episode's the same.
is the two dragons?
Yeah, the two dragons, the two boys.
The boys who are they're jocks, and everyone has a nice thing to say about them. But a couple people are like, oh no, those were jerks, and I'm like, and they're like any female characters they run into are like, no, those guys are
like,
gross.
oh my gosh, then it's
I'm
like
like,
the guys
oh.
are gross, and you just keep talking.
Even when they first show up, I'm like, oh, I feel like I know you two douchebags.
It feels like going through remedial emotions sometimes with folks. Like it seriously, it takes everybody so long to get around on like, hey, you're angry about a thing. No, I'm not.
Well, by the end of the show, I have to remind myself, oh right, almost no one knows that Edwin is in love with Charles, even though
Because it keeps being a reveal.
Yes, it's a reveal to a lot of characters except Nico. Nico seems to know
Right. Nico gets
immediately,
it.
but everyone else, it seems to be kind of a reveal. I'm like, it's painfully obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is to the point of where I was shocked they weren't together. When I'm like, oh, they're not a couple?
Right. It was actually
Okay.
confusing in the first couple of episodes that they are not already a couple and have not been in the past a couple.
Like, yeah, because I was like, no, they've hooked up before, right? And are now like on a break or something? No, they've never hooked up? I'm confused by their chemistry then.
So those two things, that weirdness and the simplicity of the case of the week was my most frustrating thing about the show. But the style of it, the charm, the delivery of the lines from a lot of the actors, and we'll get to the best one in just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
The casting's great. I really like the amount of times that they piss take or undercut the scariness of the like hell they're dealing with or whatever.
Yeah.
Baby doll part spider was amazing.
Wow. That was
But
great monster.
The absolute MVP, best actor stealing the show, is the witch that they piss off in like the first episode.
Esther.
So
Nico should be the favorite character.
She should be. Nico's probably my second.
Because she has she's great lines of like,
she's adorable and she's great.
The sprites that like infested you, they turned your hair white. Like, I know,
look awesome.
I know, I look awesome. Like she has great little one-off lines like that, but it's immediately apparent the show has nothing for her to do. Which by the end of it is like, oh, she doesn't have psychic power. She's just a human. And so they sideline her in almost in every episode. They have to think like either sideline her or think of a reason for her why she needs to be involved.
Even though she keeps frequently coming up with the info that they need because she asks a million questions, which is another fun running joke thing.
But like she doesn't plot-wise have anything to do. Esther, on the other hand, has the same level of energy and fun, but is very much involved in the ongoing story. And Esther, as the witch who is obsessed with retaining her youth, basically puts that on the back burner after the first episode where these ghosts fuck with her. Like she's like, nah, man, now I'm putting all that is now side. You guys are my main focus.
Right.
Fuck you.
Like you could go get more kids, but fuck you, I want those. So Jen Lyon plays Esther Finch. She's fantastic. Absolutely chews the scenery, steals the show every moment she's on screen.
Her delivery I can't stress enough that her delivery every time is pitch perfect.
And you better love her delivery because they re-explain her plan 5 times.
Well, it's not just her plan, Les. I noticed it because they did it with her a bunch. They did it like 4 times with her. It was crazy how many times they did it. But they do that with a couple other concepts too. They explain hell like on what before they jump down into it to save Edwin for a minute.
Of all the things that you don't need to explain.
Like
hell.
But what's crazy about it is that they explain basically that what is her name doesn't have jurisdiction down there twice.
The night nurse.
And so how they basically explain the deal they make it before they get gone to hell, and then they make it after. And I'm like, you only need this scene once.
Yeah.
But then actually, when they actually get down to hell, the show don't tell there is Edwin's notebook.
Yes.
And so he like and you see Charles work his way through hell, and
that was so cool.
And there's a great mystery to it. He's working his way backwards.
Man, he's just working backwards. He's running the escape plan that a character took to escape hell.
And we're all
but he's
like,
running the map backwards, and every room he goes in is completely empty.
It is empty. It seems to have a tangential
a theme
to whatever ring of hell they're
in.
in.
It's the gluttony room. It's the lust room or whatever. But they're empty.
But they're empty. And we were all like, what? Is it not just activated, or like it was just...
It made it so impactful when he goes, when they're trying to run and he gets his friend and they're trying to turn around and then run the same path back and escape again.
Well, you get the reveal twice. They hit they get to hit the rooms twice again.
So
like
it's like getting to look at the set deck and then looking at the actors. It almost made me want to watch like really crazy set decked movies. It kind of makes me want to see an empty version.
So there's
run all the shots with none of the actors there, where I can see the background.
But again, that's lore and world building as far as how hell is thing. When they actually have to hit story and character development and plot, I feel like it's either that the writers it's not their forte, or maybe they're just not as interested as they are in the universe. But there's a point where Jenny the landlord goes on a date, and I'm like, this is cute, but
and it gave me time with Nico, which is great.
Yeah, and honestly, like, and then it turns out that she's a crazy stalker, and
her librarian date,
and I don't really know why.
No, she just is.
And I'm like no, but Jenny isn't enough of a character to learn anything from this experience that we're going to take away from. Like, I don't even know if Jenny's going to be in the next season.
Right.
Like, she can't.
I love Jenny. She needs to be.
Yeah, but
no, she's just your grumpy butcher landlord.
It was such a turnaround. I thought the stalker librarian was going to be possessed by David the demon,
something Dead Boy related,
or supernatural, but it's not.
Man, we didn't even mention David the demon, the psychic case.
Dude, David the demon,
douchebag demon ever.
His hat, like his hipster demon thing. I'm like, man, I hate you so much.
Of him is punchable. His face, his voice, his eyes, the hat, the coat, the shirt under the coat, all of it. Honestly, all of it should be punched in its individual face.
Honestly, him being a demon is not the deal breaker for me. I'm like, no, Crystal,
it's you being you.
Crystal, I'm judging you dating this guy ever.
Right.
Like,
right. Finding out he's a demon actually might take some of the pressure off of it. Like, I'm actually, if that's just a human that you dated, if you thought he was a normal guy,
maybe the demon doesn't realize how much he's coming off like a fucking douche.
He knows. I think it's part of the whole thing. Overall, man, I wasn't sure what to expect with this. It's definitely the coolest looking thing that was on this week, so I kind of pushed us to have to watch it Thursday, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I watched it. Even though I got frustrated with the simplicity of the case of the week.
Well,
and some of the repeating shit.
There's even some great stuff like the what was it? Tragic Mike. Tragic Mike. It was the reverse.
Tragic Mick.
Tragic Mick.
Magic Trick. Yeah. Played by Michael Beach. A walrus cursed into a human's body.
Yep.
Also, Lucas Gage, who we just saw in Fargo season 5 as the douchebag husband playing golf. Is the Cat King, who is the horniest.
Well, even Esther.
He's so amazing.
I forgot. And Esther was basically threatening like Crystal in the beginning of like, I just like girls. Like it, and it was like, oh man, she is coming off pretty Cosby. Like, oh, she wants to eat them. Great. Okay. She wants to feed them to. Oh man, I want a
giant snake. Okay.
I want to feed them to my giant snake. It's a little snake.
Not a euphemism.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, that's better.
Cool.
Like,
Cool.
Everyone in this show is trying to get it, and the Cat King is a great antagonist that. I like that the antagonists' plans overlap and kind of fuck with each other.
Right.
Because they're not on the same page.
Yeah, because he totally narcs her secret.
Yeah. Monty the Crow, that basically is like...
She turns into a sexy boy to flirt with Edwin. Man, okay, so let's... My main... I really liked this show. That was great. My main issue is that all these actors, 90210 style, are 27, 28 years old. And they're not just playing college kids. They're supposed to be playing 16 or 17-year-olds.
I wouldn't be...
And it's a plot point they're...
Yeah.
One of the characters calls her parents after a few weeks, and it should be a big deal that she's missing. And it took me a moment to figure out why that would be a big deal. It's because she's technically a child. Only the actress is 27. And I don't mean these people look old. They're Hollywood pretty. I
Yeah.
just mean they look like adults that could buy a drink.
Yeah, they don't look like children.
Change it for the show.
Nico is the anime Japanese schoolgirl look, and she's only bringing it down to 22.
So, I said earlier, this is the thirstiest, horniest fucking show. The fact that they're all underage makes that weird a little bit. How old is a Cat King?
I don't.
Too old to be.
I don't like to think about that.
In the same way that they make a joke of it on Ghosts, the ghost from the attic who died on her prom night always hits on Trevor, the investment banker ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor is completely skeeved out by it, even though she's like, look, man, I died on a prom night in 1968.
Yeah.
I am well and of age. And he's like, are you though? I'm still weirded out.
No.
It's it's the same way I feel about the relationship on Invincible.
Monster Girl and Robot?
Like,
sure.
On the one hand, glad you found love, good for you. On the other hand, what's he into? Because, man, you gotta wonder.
Dude, they fucked that up because they made it his decision
to also be a kid.
It should be damn it. It should be like the order of events is what fucked that up. This is the fact that like these are obviously not children, and you shouldn't treat them like children, except that you keep bringing it up in the plot.
Yeah.
I personally think that they're so in love with the world and universe of like the Sandman weirdness of how everything works that they will let story just either sit for longer than it needs to, as far as like, hey, you realize that I know what's going to happen, like I'm far ahead, you should get to this and get to the next plot point. But they spend a lot of time inside of a fish with some Indian dude that has like rings on his fingers, and I'm like,
magic.
And they don't explain like, what was that? What's his deal? What was that? Was that some sort of mythology I'm not familiar with? They don't explain, and it's, I guess it's character development for the
night nurse,
night nurse, but she's barely a character.
Right.
Like she will be in the next season.
And she doesn't I mean, like, yes, she gets assigned to them at the end, but she hates them just as much at the very end as she doesn't
really learn anything. I mean, she gives them the chance at the end because of the ring, I guess. But then again, I don't know if the ring is doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Overall, what'd you think?
I think.
Would you recommend?
Well, honestly, that's kind of hard. If you're into Sandman and are excited for an expansion on that, this is definitely not that.
No, it's not.
Sandman is headier and
I know it's the same universe. Despair and Death both reprise their roles, but it does not quite feel like Sandman. It feels more like Doom Patrol by way of Good Omens.
Yes, and when it's doing that,
it's great.
But the problem is it's not always pulling that off.
No,
and
sometimes it's just a really slow YA mystery.
Yeah,
that feels kind of CW because they keep repeating things and hiding things.
There's a polish that Sandman had that this is obviously missing, and I don't think that means it's not worth watching, but I do think you need to know that going into it.
Yeah.
Before being super invested and
getting disappointed.
But yeah. Like just realize that plot wise, this isn't gonna like surprise you in any way. It's gonna take a while to get to basically anything and everything, but you are gonna have a lot of fun watching some of the characters like Nico and Esther.
And it's gonna look cool and have something cool happen every few minutes the whole time. It just that cool thing won't necessarily be the plot.
Yeah.
That sounds weird. It sounds weird. Well, I think that's about all for us. All from us for now.
Sure.
Tune in next week. We're going to talk about Knuckles. Speaking of weird,
Knuckles,
the new Sonic the Hedgehog spin-off series.
Okay.
Like we do as adults.
Have you watched either of the movies?
No, I have not. We'll
Okay.
see if I can keep up. Maybe we'll tear through the movies quickly. It's a speed joke, Nick. Anyway.
And
thought
don't
I'd get
forget
a gold ring for that. Nothing.
You don't. Stop trying to make a Sonic reference. You don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't.
Go suck on a chili dog. Don't forget to head over to the patreon.com/tvdudes to hear what we thought of Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare with special guest Randy out from Time.
And until next time,
TVDudes out.